Welcome! Today we are revisiting my TEO-5. The reason why I picked this up again is because I think it would be nice to talk a bit what I think about this synthesizer after getting some more programming skills, and also that I want to highlight something very nice. The very nice thing is that here we have Sound Tower Editor. Sound Tower is a company which makes editor for a lot of synthesizers, and some of them are of course sequential and Oberheim. If you don't know about this, I would recommend you to check it out. It's a really valuable tool, and what's good with this is that even if you have so much control on the synthesizer itself, you also get possibility to dig into some menus here very quick that would be more menu diving in some of the synthesizers. For example, here you can reach the program volume very easily, the panning, key amount, and also that you can set the filter and the noise color of the filter very quick. The noise color, not the noise color of the filter. I apologize for that. And also it's a valuable tool because you can do some. You have the option for banks here. And then you can drag and drop the patches very easily, very quick. You can manage them, rename them very quick, so you don't need to use the screen. And even if they are the sequential synthesizer are fully capable of being a good synthesizer that is very usable, I would still recommend checking out this. You can download the demo version of them. But remember, it's not the VST, it's an editor. So check it out at Sound Tower website. The video is not sponsored of them, of course, but I just wanted to make a personal recommendation if you have this synthesizer. Alright, let's talk about the TEO-5. It's one of my gems in the synthesizer collection I have. And I tend to hate I don't hate is a strong word, but some of the synths are coming out at desktops, but they are not really for me. I saw that TEO-5 has been arriving as a desktop, same as the Take-5. I have both as keyboard versions. And what I find, frustrating with desktop models is that, okay, they say place, they are cheaper, but you can't really pick them up and play them very quick, just connecting them and play. Instead, you have the problem of that you need to connect them with MIDI cables, and then if you have a MIDI claviator in front of the table, I don't like that layout. But they are brilliant in some way. Like, for example, imagine if I don't have the emotional feeling of having a keyboard, or if I wouldn't play keyboard in that way, then it would be fantastic for me, I guess. I could put them like in desktop shelves. Not desktops, bookshelves, or something like that, and I could put MIDI cables through, and I would have a very easily way to navigate through them, and they are not that expensive. They are a little bit cheaper, of course, but I tend to love the keyboard version. It makes them look like a real synthesizer. That's what I think. But I don't want to, knock down the desktop versions. They are good. Some people really like that, and they don't care about the keyboard, so that's perfect for them, I guess. But it's all up to what we like, and we take what we like. So, what do I think about the TEO-5 now after owning it a bit? I think that I should put it like this, I have an OB6, and has this replaced my OB6? No, definitely. And why hasn't it done it? And why isn't the OB6 replacing this one? It comes down to some simple factors. This one has a modulation matrix, or a mod matrix to call. And the mod matrix, of course, gives so many more possibilities to create sounds. But on the other hand, the OB6 is more of a pure analog synthesizer, which makes it sound very raw, very fat. This one sounds raw and fat, but here's an important part. It sounds more controllable in some music recording, I would say. And why would I say that? Well, the reason is that, for example, should we go to one patch that we can initialize, and I'm going to put up the program volume to take 110. I'm adjusting this in the Sound Tower editor right now because I don't want to dive in the menus to get this option. Okay, so if I would do the same chord, for example, on my OB6, it would be so much more taking up the frequency range, and that's not a bad thing. But sometimes we want to have things that are a little bit thinner. And I think this synthesizer, the TEO-5 and the TEO-5, they really don't blow up the stereo image or steal anything, you know. I mean, they are a little bit more controllable in the dynamics of the, not dynamics, but controllable in the frequencies when you're putting them to the mix. And they sound nice. And this one also have the cross mod, which is I guess linear because it's more musical. And so mod matrix, the cross mod I like. I like the way that it doesn't take up the entire entire frequency spectrum. So this, I find this to be more controllable and really nice in music. The same goes with TEO-5. Okay, so for that reason I'm keeping both. And you can work fast with this one. Easy to find things. And you have the fat state variable filter. It's a cool synth indeed. You know, having a mod matrix like you have on this one, so you can, for example, assign, let's say that I want to assign, see if I can do this, the noise on the cutoff, for example. That's one of my favorite things. And this is with the chorus. I'm turning off the chorus now. Wonder what happened if I put it in white noise. So the idea is this, that when you have, for example, a mod matrix, you can assign things like I want to assign that one to that one, that part to that one, and etc. etc. That makes the synthesizer way more fun and enjoyable to work with. And also, for example, if you have an OB6 or Prophet 6 or a Trigon 6, I have all of the three of them, and they have the philosophy of using the polymod function. Polymod is like each voice is getting its own modulations that you can put. For example, that you can modulate with the oscillator. You can sacrifice the second oscillator to make it modulate something else. Or example, for a Trigon 6, you can sacrifice the third oscillator to do it some modulation, and that goes per voice. So that's why it's called polymod, I guess. This one has something interesting. It has two LFO. It has one that is mono. That means that will be shared across all the voices, all the tones that you play. LFO2, on the other hand, is a poly one, so that will be unique. And let's say what you can do is that you can reset the poly mod, I mean the poly LFO 2. I see it here in the Sound Tower editor. When you're resetting them, that goes with both LFOs. Then, like when you hit the key, it will start generating the waveform, resetting the waveform, if you want to have it more in sync. Let's see if I can do something usable with this. See if I can take the LFO2 and modulate the filter with it. Okay, this is the LFO2, which is poly, so this should go for each voice, you know, so it won't modulate the same on all voices then, like the LFO1 does. Can create some interesting textures. You might be curious, like, how fast can an LFO go on this synthesizer? I think we should try it. Let's modulate the cutoff with the LFO1 and see the speed. That was the maximum speed here. So it's a very capable synthesizer. And I would say that this is also one thing that differs a lot from, for example, the TEO-5 and OB6, and that goes with the Take 5 and, should I say, Prophet 6, but that's actually the Prophet 5 filter in the Take 5, so that would be fair to compare. But however, when listening to the contour of the LFO, I find the LFO contour to be way more kind on the Take 5 and the TEO-5, while on the Prophet 6, I don't have a Prophet 5, so I can say that, so I can compare Prophet 6 and OB6. The LFOs are way more aggressive when you're modulating with them. Not how to say aggressive, like, you know, it's way more, that's, you can feel that something's really happens in another way. It's always hard to put word on everything. Another thing that I like on this synthesizer is how the sync sound. See if I can turn up the program volume a bit. Let's see if we can do this. Destination, sample and hold. And already there we've been creating an interesting sound. I think that, you know, some synths to me, when you pick them up, are really hard to play. Not hard to play, but you don't get in the flow that easily. On the other hand, TEO-5, Take 5, and yeah, those two in the same form factor is really giving you that inspiration to play and create. So what I think also is that these small synthesizers or medium sized are really beasts, you know. And one, you know, big wish I have is that Sequential Will would create this type of synth, but also with the Trigon 6 filter. That would be absolutely amazing. And I wouldn't think for any minute or any second I would buy it directly, you know, because to have the voltage controlled oscillators and the VCF voltage control filter and having the modulation possibility to LFO and polyphonic, you know, man, it's absolute dream to work with. This little beast has overdrive also. Let's see if I can make a nice patch of this. So I'll try to make a pulse width patch here. And you can see how fast we can get a good result with this synth. And we should modulate the voices, the pulse width. I notice now that when putting the LFO like in a negative modulation compared to a positive one, so you take it in another direction, it seems like it behaves different in the sound. If I'm not confusing myself, now it's negative, now positive. So my conclusion is that I will modulate the pulse width modulation with the negative value now instead. That sounded way better. And I also activated the sub oscillator here, if you wonder why it changed so much. The takt time of the amplifier. This synth also has reverb. And I'm going to say that the reverb sounds actually, it sounds much better on this one compared to the built-in reverb on the OB6. We are not complete without chorus. You know, here comes a good example when the mod matrix is amazing. Because if we enter the mod matrix, we can go to using the mod wheel to control, for example, the cutoff. And there it's assigned. And what's good with that is that even if I have the synth in front of me and can turn the frequency knob manually, like that, you know, This is good when you are in a digital audio workstation, because when you're in your DAW, perhaps you don't have the MIDI message for this one, for example, and if you don't have, it can be much easier to know that things that I normally modulate, I can assign it to the mod wheel, and it's always control change 1 mod wheel standard. And when I'm using a master keyboard and having this in my synth rack, then it's easy to know that it's this knob that does the job that I want to perform on my patches. And to be honest, this wasn't a bad patch at all. I think I will save it actually. Why not? And I guess that most when thinking about Oberheim synthesizer, I'm going to be really honest that in the beginning, and almost that I believe it's still today, is that these synths are mostly making pad sounds because of the filter. That's not really true, but to be honest, a true thing about this type of filter is it makes the synthesizer a bit more limited and more specialized compared to, for example, a Prophet 5 or a Prophet 6. I'm not, take this with a pinch of salt, what I say now. I'm not quite sure, but I think that if you buy an OBX8, I think that should have a 4-pole filter. And I'm not sure if it's a Curtis filter. If you know, you can please write in the comment, because I'm quite curious if you have one and how it works. I guess that you can make a little bit more flexible sounds on that one, but OBX8 is very interesting because that one you have, like, you can take, if I understand it right, you can take different filter types depending on what Oberheim you want to sound like and what envelopes and things like that from which synthesizer model, and pair it up as you want. But take that as a pinch of salt. I'm not quite sure, but that's what I think I have heard about. So futuristic, don't you think? However, I think that I want to roll off this video right now, because I think that I was getting out what I wanted to show today. This video, what I want to highlight from this video is that these synthesizers are really good if you don't want to take up the whole stereo image, but that's what I think. Perhaps I'm wrong, but that's what I think when I've been mixing and how I feel, and perhaps it's just a subject feeling. But tell me what you think if you have one, and what's your experience. I would like to know that. I love to get all information from other people about how they think their synthesizer is the same that I have, how they experience them. That's a fun thing in this hobby. And also the Sound Towers editor, check them out, they are awesome. And thank you for watching.